3, 2, 1.
There's an old adage that wherever you go, there you are. This adage was first found somewhere in the 1800s in a translation of an ancient book, and then it was used in some sort of play or publication from a university. Wherever you go, there you are. And I was thinking about that. That came up to me when I was thinking about the talk title I came up with for this week. We are merged. And it came to me that if we move, if you move, or we decide to change our friendships or our jobs, or even decide to watch a different Sunday celebration, maybe even get a divorce, whatever it is in our lives that we purposefully change, and it could be a good thing, it could be a necessary thing, but whether it is or not, when you get there, when you get to the other side, when you get to the new town, when you get to the new job, when you get your freedom from a negative relationship, now your location may have changed, the faces around you may be different, the desk you're sitting at may be new, but all those fears, all those worries, all those victories, your failures, attitudes, gratitudes that you have in mind, your talents, your time, your treasure, they all accompany you. They all accompany me whenever I make any change like that. And as I was thinking about that, I realized that I needed to remind not only myself, but all of us that happiness and happy experiences are much more an inside job than anything happening outside. But when you move without running away, but by running towards, when you get new friends at the same time, you start realizing the red flags that maybe these new friends aren't the best friends because they're a little too much like the old friends. Or you follow your intuition more than following the money or the benefits when you're out there looking for a new job. You start to get steered to the best crowd, to the best job, to the best direction you need to go. When you go with no or a limited amount of disgust, because that happens when we want a big change. We are sometimes get disgusted with what's going on in our lives, or we downright hate it, or there's some shame attached to it, or victimhood, or chains to the old stories, to the past. When we go with a limited amount of that, or none of that, if we're in the process of working through it, and the move and the change and the newness comes with an appreciation of where you've been. Yes, even if it was a bad experience, even if it was a negative experience, appreciating it because that experience moved you forward. And a gratitude for what you may have learned and what you are learning from that negative experience, and respect for yourself from where you came from. Respecting yourself to have gotten up and made that move, gotten up and gotten out of that relationship, left that job that was not fulfilling you in whatever ways, financially, soulfully, where you want to be in your career. When you do that, you go with more than the excitement of a new location. You go with more of a purpose of what you want to do. A purpose beyond getting out of that situation, getting out of that relationship. A purpose to bust through, soar, and zoom into a greater experience. You move with an acceptance of the full you. That your greatness Well, you go with a reminder that your greatness is inherent. It's inherent. Whether you like it or not, the greatness, the magnificence of you is inherent. It's right there. Your talents that have been optimized already, they come with you when you remember how to appreciate the past, how to respect the process you've gone through. And your knowledge of that which needs improvement, that comes with you, and you have it. You can have it, and you will have it when you decide to. There's a quote from author Barbara Scher, and she wrote, "In the days before automobiles, people in horse-drawn wagons used to sleep if they were tired. They didn't worry about getting lost because the horse knew the way home. Your heart knows the way to your gifts. You can trust it to take you to them." Your heart. When you remember that wherever you go, so too goes divine love, divine intelligence, divine light. You begin to make these changes, not just as new locations, new people, new jobs, new whatever, but transformations of the new you. By connecting with your heart and your gut, as well as your head, your unity with the power and presence of infinite possibilities will override the limitations of your fears, your worries, the stress of your worries, the old stories that seem to be in your way or that were in your way. Dina Metzger wrote, "Stories moves in circles. They don't move in straight lines, so it helps if you listen in circles. There are stories inside stories and stories between stories, and finding your way through them is as easy and as hard as finding your way home. And part of the finding is the getting lost. The getting lost. And when you're lost, you start looking around and listen. That's what happens when you feel like you're lost, when you feel like you're lost in that job, when you feel like you're lost in that relationship, when you feel like you're lost in that city you're living in right now. That's when you need to stop and listen. Listen, yes, to your head, but listen more to your heart and your gut. The theme this month has been unify. And unification is a purposeful action. I've been talking about that all month, that you must initiate. I must initiate. Yes, the divine is there. Yes, the divine is within us. But when we want to connect with it, when we want to commune with it, we take the initiation to do that. But it's also an innate action with all the contact numbers, all the addresses, all the coordinates, all the directions you may need. That's already built in. It's already built in to you, to the essence of you. It's what could be called the God positioning system, GPS, the God positioning system, which is always at the ready, just like the one in your car, always willing and considerably able, just like the one on your phone. But you must plug in the destination. You must tell that computer, as far as the global positioning system, where you want to go. And so too, in the God positioning system, you must tell it your destination. You must tell it not just a location, not just what's around you, but how you're going to feel. What it looks like, what it tastes like, what it feels like, this experience you're stepping into. There's a story about these two men. They visit a Zen master, and the first man says, I'm thinking of moving to this town. What's it like? The Zen master asks, well, what was your old town like? He says, well, it was dreadful. Everyone was mean and hateful. And I just hated it. Zen master thinks for a moment. He says, well, this town is very much the same. I don't think you should move here. First man then leaves. Not an hour later, a second man comes in and he says, Zen master, I'm thinking of moving to this town. What's it like, sir? And Zen master again asks, well, what was your old town like? And the gentleman says, well, it was pretty wonderful, actually. It was a great town, great people. I was happy, just interested in a change now, Zen master said, yes, I do know. This town is very much like that. I think you'll like it here. The second guy left with a gratitude of his experience. He had a happy time. I'm sure it wasn't happy every single moment that he lived in that old town. But the second guy decided to not run away, but to run towards something new. So when we change a relationship, when we change a job, when we change the city that we live in, we're not running away from anything. We're running to something. To bust through Soren Zoom, we're not retreating. We're running towards our new home. What's going on with your self-talk? I bring this up all the time. And as I wrote this note, I was thinking, you bring that up all the time, but that's so important. It's important to me, so it must be important to you too, because I'm not any different than you. What is going on in your self-talk? A new job is great. Leaving a bad relationship, of course, is very smart. And moving to a new place is exciting. But what's your I am statements going on in your brain and thus in your body and thus in your life? Or if you prefer, what are your you are statements? And let me explain this a little bit better. The I am statements. Now, I use a lot of I am statements in the affirmative incantations, and they have power because, you're saying I am. Whatever the I am ... whatever the ... is what you believe you are. But some people prefer the third person so that they're telling themselves, or in some cases, they're telling their younger selves, their child self, you are this, and that. I am proud of you, or whatever is after you are. Some people feel that better. They accept that idea better, whatever comes after the you are. So it matters not whether you use the I am or the you are. Whatever works best for you, you have to listen to it though. It's what you must listen to, what you have decided you are, what you have decided I am. They are your daily connection to the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction, the law of correspondence, whatever you want to call that law that uses your beliefs to manifest into your life, your experiences, all your experiences, good, bad, indifferent. The thoughts, opinions, and declarations of your subconscious are the root of your beliefs. And your subconscious is what really informs you most of the time of what your self-talk is going to be, what's going on in your head all the time. But you can change that because conscious thought overrides subconscious thought. Conscious thought can change conscious thought and thus change your beliefs. And your beliefs, like I said, are your experiences. Daniel Boone, the great pioneer and frontiersman, said, I can't say I ever was lost, but I was bewildered once for 3 days. We may feel lost, we may be lost, or just plain bewildered at times, and that's okay. That's okay. You have to know that's okay. You're not here to have perfect emotions. You're here to respond to any of those emotions in the best way. When we're lost or just bewildered for a few days, it's the precursor, if we allow it, to a transcendence, to an aha moment, to a movement in consciousness and belief, and ultimately an experience. I know we sometimes have bad days. We have sometimes bad weeks or confusing weeks. But it's what we do on the other side. It's what we do as we respond to it that's important. Henry David Thoreau wrote, "It is very rare that you meet with obstacles in this world which the humblest man has not faculties to surmount." Each and every one of us, really, no matter what, can surmount pretty much everything. No, I take that back. Everything. Some things may not go away completely, and I understand that, but we learn how to adapt our lives. We learn how to use that gets in our way sometimes, to learn from, to move through, to even bring happiness in our lives if those things seem to be preventing them. It's how we respond. It's how we talk to ourselves about it. It is how we connect with the universe and the universal intelligence to allow intuition to inform us versus emotions to, most of the times, bind us to that negative experience. I want everyone to get up and go to a mirror. I happen to have one right here. I'll go out of frame if I do it, but I want you to go to a mirror. And I want you to think of, look at the reflection. What do you see? Now, are you picking out things you don't like about your face or your body if it's a full-length mirror? Now stop that. That's not what this is about. All that is not useful, especially in this exercise. I want you to look in your eyes only. Just look in your eyes. See all of you. Now, do you see sadness or fear? I want you to look deeper. Look deeper. See what God sees. And what God sees in your eyes, what God sees through your eyes, is an expression of itself, is an expression of that divine power and presence, whatever you want to call it. It's specific. This is who you are, a specific, important, individualized version of the greatness that made the sun to warm the planet, made the earth to house all this life that we have on this planet as we know it, a sacred place, a sanctum sanctorum that lives in this vehicle, in this body called you. That's what you see. That's what's in those eyes if you look deep enough. It is at this moment that you are truly and totally merged with God, the great spirit, the divine intelligence, the greatest part of you. Sometimes it takes getting lost to enjoy the joy of being found. And sometimes you need to get a map or use your internal mapping system to get there. And that's okay. And that's good. And that's why it's there. Just like the GPS system in your phone or car puts you on the path towards the quickest and safest way to whatever destination you happen to be going, so too when we merge with the universe in our spiritual practice, whatever that is, and you can choose your own or do a combination, the God positioning system shows us the way. Or the God peace service, also GPS, centers and grounds us to awaken that way. Or the God possibility strategy guides us to the best path. Or the God prosperity syndrome seeps into everything we do. or the God power structure that is always at the ready without judgment is there to illuminate, dominate, accelerate, and transmutate you into joy, happiness, healing, and affluence in all parts of your life. Like prosperity, affluence is not just about money. You don't have to join a special club, be born in a certain place, or any of that elitist BS. It is in you right now, my friends. Know that we are merged already, right here and now, no matter what's going on in your life. And in that merging, you can go on to your next adventure, unified with your greatest self, the God in you. Thank you so much. Namaste.